There are two distinct events that will happen at the end of time. The first event is the rapture. This is when God removes His righteous and faithful from the earth before the 7-year tribulation. The second event is the second coming. This is when the Lord returns to earth with the saints at the end of the 7-year tribulation. So people always want to know, what is the main sign that will happen just before the return of Jesus? Well, that all depends on which one of these returns you're referring to, because the signs just before the rapture are different than those just before the second coming. Let me show you. If I ask the average church person, tell me what are the signs to look for that indicate the Lord's return, most would quote Jesus' words in Matthew 24:3. Famine, war, pestilence, earthquakes. And while these are definite signs of the end times, what most people don't realize is these signs here actually refer to the second coming, which is after the rapture. Yes, there will always be random earthquakes, famines, plagues, and suffering throughout time. But these particular signs Jesus spoke of here will be magnified, and they'll happen all at one time during the tribulation after the rapture. The proof of this is in the fact that these verses of Matthew 24 are almost identical to the sealed judgments in Revelation 6, which we know take place during the tribulation. So, this brings me back to the main question. What are the main signs that we should look for before the rapture? Well, here it is. Believe it or not, peace and just normal life will be the main sign just before the rapture. By now, you're probably screaming, "Preacher, you're crazy." That's totally opposite of what Jesus said in Matthew 24:3. But actually, Jesus said both, and He even said it in the same chapter, and I'll prove it. The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5, watch for peace and safety just before sudden destruction. And He instructs us to be praying so that what happens afterward will not surprise you and I like a thief in the night. Here's where it gets interesting. Jesus Himself tells us that life on earth just before His return will be like it was in the days of Noah and Lot. Now, we've all heard this saying our whole life. But most people have never thought much about the examples that Jesus said they were doing in the days of Noah. Jesus said they were eating, drinking, marrying, planting, building. Now, compare this to what Jesus said in Matthew 24:3. There'll be famine, drought, economic failures, disasters, wars, earthquakes. So how can both of these be signs of the end? No one's planting gardens during famine and drought. No one's planning a wedding in the middle of the Black Plague. And nobody is building new houses during earthquakes and wars. It sounds like it's contradicting itself at first, but actually He's given us two different signs for two different events in the same chapter. Think about this. This is an odd list Jesus gave. I mean, of all the sins and the wickedness He could have named of Noah's day and Sodom and Gomorrah especially, He named non-sinful actions as the signs that would precede His coming. Why? Simple. He was showing us the difference in life just before these two events so we would recognize it. Just before the second coming, after the rapture, the world is in chaos, disasters everywhere, people's hearts failing them for fear. But just before the rapture, people are building, planning marriages. Life is normal, and it even seems to be prospering. It's so normal, in fact, that the majority of people are unconcerned and could care less about God. These are definitely two different events that Jesus is explaining. And the second coming will happen after 7 years of detailed events that is outlined in the book of Revelation. The Bible even tells us precise details and the exact number of days it will last. But the rapture, on the other hand, will come like a thief, and no one will know the day or the hour. Of the people of Noah and Lot's day, Matthew says this, that they knew not until it was too late. Last thought. Just before Noah and Lot's destruction, everyone except the righteous was too busy for God. They were living lives for themselves, no time for church, no time to seek God. And then suddenly the Lord returned. So be ready, in an hour you think not, the Son of Man cometh. God bless.